Good evening, everyone. We are going to call to order the November 18th, 2013 City Council meeting. And the first thing on our agenda, our Pledge of Allegiance today, is going to be led by 7th grader Caroline Henry. Miss Henry, would you please step forward?
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Caroline Henry. I'm in 7th grade at the Stillwater Middle School. I'm on I dance at Encore Dance Company, and I also play tennis.
Wonderful, wonderful. What's your favorite subject at school?
Language arts.
Language arts.
Good deal.
That's fun stuff. That's fun. Okay. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. Next on our agenda is a proclamation for Northern Oklahoma College. If you guys want to all come forward. I think we have the entire administrative team.
My goodness.
Okay. Whereas the Gateway program formally began in August of 2003 when Northern Oklahoma College and Oklahoma State University launched an educational partnership with the goal of providing greater access to higher education for Stillwater area and Oklahoma college-bound students. And whereas the Gateway program admits approximately 550 new students each fall and spring semester, currently serving some 1,900 students today. And whereas, as land-grant institutions, OSU and NOC have a historic obligation to provide educational opportunities for all Oklahomans, focusing on student success and on the role each plays within Oklahoma's higher education system. And whereas the Gateway program serves students who have a goal to attend OSU in the future, but benefit from starting their academic career at the community college, which prepares them for admission and success at OSU. And whereas, as we celebrate the 10-year anniversary of working together, we continue to promote college access and degree completion, ultimately increasing the number of students who graduate from OSU, thus strengthening the state's workforce and economy. Now, therefore, I, John Bartley, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, and my fellow councilors do hereby congratulate NOC and OSU on 10 years of successful partnership and proclaim in the City of Stillwater the 18th day of November 2013 as NOC OSU Gateway Program Day. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mayor Bartley. It's my privilege to be here today representing Northern Oklahoma College. I have with me my administrative team. We rotate our meetings, and this was a day we were all in Stillwater. And we have with us Regent Rex Horning, Vice President Snyder, Vice President Simpson, Vice President Johnson, Vice President Vineyard, Vice President Colwell, and we also have our Athletic Director, Jeremy Hayes, and from our Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Pam Stinson. So we are pleased to be here. On behalf of Debbie Query, who's the Vice President of the Stillwater campus, we send her regrets. She woke up this morning ill and couldn't join us today, but we appreciate all that she's done for us here the 10 years. We are very pleased to be celebrating the 10th anniversary of our partnership with Oklahoma State, the Gateway program. Over the years, we've benefited thousands of students here in Stillwater, and we also think that we want to say thank you to the City of Stillwater and to the Stillwater Chamber of Commerce. You guys have been so supportive of our partnership and welcomed us to the community, and you've helped both our schools in so many ways. We are proud that Northern is an Aspen Institute recognized institution, which means that we are in the top 10% of community colleges across the country, evaluated by external source, and that has to do with our graduation rates, our degrees awarded, and equity in student outcomes. And we think that the Gateway program models what our motto for the school is, and that's life-changing opportunities. It's an open door for higher education for those who need a strong beginning to get started in their higher education career, or a second chance to prepare themselves to return back to Oklahoma State University. And we appreciate all of your support, and we think that the Gateway program is good for the city of Stillwater, and most importantly, is good for our students. So thank you all for your support, and we look forward to a bright future here in Stillwater.
Squeeze in a little bit, friends.
Thank you all very much.
You bet.
Okay. That'll take us down to our consent dockets. We have items A through E on the consent docket. Does anybody wish to remove anything from the consent docket?
I move approval.
Did you want to remove?
Meetings?
I would like to remove item B if we could.
Sure.
To remove item B, the regular meetings. Anything else to remove?
With that, I'd second his motion.
Okay. We have a motion and second to approve the consent docket less item B.
Guess I ought to vote, shouldn't I, since I made the motion?
And that passes 3-0. And I failed to state at the beginning that both Counselor Scott and Counselor Noble are not present tonight. Both had family situations that have kept them from being here this evening. So I apologize for not sharing the beginning. So there are just 3 of us here tonight. That passed 3-0. That takes us down. Items removed the consent docket, the item B being the meetings.
I would just like if we could to table that to the December 2nd meeting. I just failed to give that adequate review and compare it with my other schedules, if you don't mind.
So, do we need to table it, or can we just strike it from the consent docket? Or
Need a motion to table it
If you want to bring it back on a particular date, then you need to table it.
okay.
or postpone it? I move we postpone it to December the 2nd.
Second.
Okay, and that also passes 3-0. That's postponed to December 2nd. And that takes us down to the public hearings. Mr. Galloway?
Well, I would, we've got several items on the agenda related to this. We have this public hearing, and we also have a couple of items under general orders related to it, item B and C. These are components of implementing the parking study plan, but it's not the comprehensive view. We would like to table these and subject to call, and suggest that we have a session and present to the full council the entire outcome of the parking study publicly, and so we all have the total framework of the parking study as a framework, and I think it makes much easier then to implement components within that, rather than just starting on the components. So that would be our recommendation, to table this subject to call. Mr. Dorman, could they table this subject to call on this hearing, or does it have to have a date specific?
No, if you table it subject to call, you would just have to issue new notice on the public hearing item, which is publication in this case, because it's a text amendment.
And I'd recommend to council table subject to call.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I would like to hear a comprehensive review of the whole plan, and even though we are going to table it to subject to call, I hope it's soon and not put off indefinitely. So I would make a motion to table it subject to call.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second tabling this public hearing subject to call. Any questions? That passes 3-0. That'll take us down to general orders. Item A, financial reports.
Good evening. I'm Marcy Lamb, CFO. Tonight, I'm presenting the first quarter financial results for the current fiscal year. And we've started off on a really bright note. All of our revenues are either on track or above a little bit of their 25% quarterly target. The sales tax is up at the end of the quarter. It was up 2.07% over the budget. At the time I prepared this report, it was 9.42% over our year-to-date target, and as of our last receipt this month, it's now 11.08% over this time last year. So sales tax is growing quite a bit. We are still kind of looking at the detail from the tax commission to try to figure out where it's coming from. Everything in general is up. There doesn't appear to be too many things that are just isolated out there. Some of the things in the first quarter that we expected to see probably were some electronics and things like that, coinciding with the beginning of the school year and that shopping, but we're still looking into the general rise. Our suspicion is that it's come from the oil activity in the county and the city, and some of those employees that are in our area and buying things that they need while they're here. The use tax is also up. It's 34% over the quarterly projection. And if you'll remember, this year's first full year that we'll have total use of the use tax in the general fund. So that's good news. In the first quarter, the carry forwards from the prior year will have hit into the budgeted numbers, and there are some carry forwards in the revenues for grants and the fire training facility and CDBG grants. And we also, in our over revenues category, and we got our rebate from our purchasing card program of $108,000. So that's what's accounted for that. You also have a budget revision in the general fund for other revenues, and it's $135,000 budget revision for the revenues coming from the Department of Public Safety. We're also have an offsetting expenditure revision for that item, and that's for the facility where they're going to be doing the driver's license testing that you all approved earlier. Total expenditures, they're 18.13% of the original budget for the year. So that's definitely well below our 25% quarterly target. And all of the expenditures are within quarterly targets or may reflect some seasonal activity. In the debt service fund, those receipts are typically received in the second and third quarters of the fiscal year, so there's not a lot of activity in that fund. And revenues in the CVB fund are 11.8% over for the quarterly target. And so hotel motel tax is increasing there. Operating revenues for the Stillwater Utilities Authority are 32.31% of the original projection. Electric and water revenues were up 35.63% and 27.37% respectively. And customer service fees were 4.04% above the quarterly target. Last year, those fees at this time were a little bit over that, so we're hoping that customers are staying up a little bit better with their bills this time this year. Revenues designated for the water capital improvement projects are also above the quarterly target, and that's going into those capital improvement funds, the set aside that y'all have approved in the rates. And miscellaneous revenues are up 10.47, and that was largely due to sale of scrap materials on eBay and also for some cell tower rentals. Expenditures for the SUA are 20.42%, and purchase power expenditures are 20.54% of the target. And all the other SUA expenditures are close to or below the anticipated quarterly targets. So, Stillwater Economic Development Authority, most of the revenues in the first quarter were coming from the car show event, and then we also had several delinquent bid payments that we collected, and so those funds were actually from last year but were paid in the first quarter of this year. With that, I'll ask if there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Just bring us 3 more quarters in a row like that.
Say three, that is a good point. 3 more quarterly reports like that would be good for us. Okay. We need to take action on that, correct?
Yes.
No action?
No action required.
Okay, but it does, I just lost my mind. Okay, the next 2 items under general orders, B and C, are again part of the parking.
Yes, we just requested we remove those from tonight's agenda. We'll place them back on with relationship to the other items.
Okay.
Don't need to take any action on
No
that.
action, got it.
No action.
Okay, and then item D, authorize city attorney to prepare a 50-year land lease in connection with Stillwater Medical Center.
Okay, the Stillwater Medical Center, as many people know, has acquired quite a bit of property on the south side of 12th Avenue for some future development. There is to the northeast of the property that they have, on the south side of 12th, the city has a somewhat triangular piece of unused property. It's 3.87 acres. As I understand, the Stillwater Medical Center Foundation for the last few years has been developing fundraising to help the hospital in constructing the warm water therapy pool facility, and that would be an excellent site for it. I've been approached by the hospital about the use of that land. This is not a monetary lease arrangement. It's the city's, and it's a city hospital. But for the record, to make it appropriate for them to use it, I would recommend that you authorize the city attorney to prepare a lease for the city's property for hospital use for the next 50 years and bring it back for approval, or simply authorize the mayor to sign it. I think it's a good use of that property, where the city has no planned use for it, and it's contiguous with the hospital's property, so I think it would be a good use for the project.
Put it to use, I would make a motion to approve item D.
I would second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item D under general orders. Any further discussion? All right. And that is approved 3-0. Take us down to ordinance, and on second reading, we have ordinance 3243. Mr. Gorman.
An ordinance rezoning a tract of land located at 1400 North Boomer Road from CG Commercial General District and RTM Residential 2-Family and Multifamily District to RMI PUD Residential Multifamily Intermediate Planned Unit Development.
Any questions?
Second reading, right?
Second read, yes, sir.
I move we approve ordinance 3243.
Second.
Motion and second to approve ordinance 3243. That is approved 3-0. Takes down to miscellaneous items. Mr. Dorman.
Nothing to report tonight, sir.
Mr. Galloway.
Nothing further to report, thank you.
Councilors?
Second.
Nothing? Okay, I've got just a couple. We have representatives from Leadership Stillwater Class 22, I believe. Thank you. So anyway, if you guys wouldn't mind standing and being recognized as the interns and concerned citizens here at City Council meeting. Thank you guys for being here. Okay. And as this is our last meeting before Thanksgiving, I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving next week. Okay. Anything for upcoming meetings? Other than we want speed on the parking?
Parking stuff.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn city council?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn the city council meeting. Approved 3-0, so city council is adjourned, and we'll call to order the Stillwater Utility Authority's meeting. And first item we have on the consent docket, items A through C, and Councilor, I'm assuming, or Trustee Weaver, I'm assuming you'd want to pull B also.
Yeah, I'd move approval of the consent docket minus item B.
Second.
A motion to approve items A and C on the consent docket. And that's approved 3-0. And then same thing, bring it back next meeting. That's table, we don't need to.
No, you've already given direction on that.
All right, given direction on what you guys need to do. Okay, that takes us down. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second.
Okay, motion and second to adjourn Stillwater Utility Authority. That's approved 3-0. Utility Authority is adjourned. We'll call to order Stillwater Economic Development Authority. A and B on the consent docket.
Hate to rub it in, but I'd move approval of the consent docket minus item A.
Okay, so motion, we've got a motion and a second for item B on the consent docket. As approved, 3-0, and that takes us down to general orders, 2013-14 economic development contract.
Yeah, since July 1, the chamber has continued to provide the same services as they were in the 2012-2013 contract. I've been working with Elisa Navarcall. We kind of worked through this and put it on hold for a little bit. We worked under the premise of continuing the contract, but we were going through some planning phases, and we were waiting to see if there may be some need to modify the contract this year. In October, we decided it was probably better to go ahead and leave the contract as is for the remainder of this year. So we're recommending that we basically renew the same contract we had with the chamber last year for the year 2013-2014. $150,000, the same as last year, and the scope of work, again, continuing to recruit primary jobs, new industry, promoting Shop Stillwater, the same criteria in the contract as the previous year, and I'd recommend approval of the contract. Have any questions for me, or Lisa Navarcall's here? But it's pretty straightforward. They've been doing a good job for us, and I'd like to continue.
Any questions?
Just a comment, just to say to Lisa, what a great job the chamber's doing, and we appreciate all you're doing for Stillwater.
And I would move that we accept the city manager's recommendation.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. And that is approved 3-0, and that takes us down. Is there a motion to adjourn Stillwater Economic Development Authority?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn.
Reverse it.
And we are adjourned. And there is not another agenda.
So we're really adjourned.
We really are adjourned.